Meanwhile, for eastern England, there will be further showers coming in from the North Sea, and one or two of those will reach the Pennines, into the Midlands, East Anglia and the South East at times overnight before eventually fading away. Areas of cloud as well for eastern and southern areas, so mostly frost-free towards the southeast, although a touch of ground frost or frost on your cars first thing couldn't be ruled out. The more extensive frost likely across Scotland and Northern Ireland, -1, -2 Celsius, perhaps lower in some spots, and some dense fog, especially for Northern Ireland. Now that fog will actually lift as this area of cloud to the northwest moves into Northern Ireland and Western Scotland, bringing some patchy rain for the Western Isles by the afternoon and an increased breeze. 6 to 8 Celsius typical, though, across the UK, and for much of England, Wales, southern and eastern Scotland, a bright, fine afternoon to come with sunny spells. And actually under clear skies across England and Wales overnight into the start of the weekend. Well, it's going to be another frosty one with some dense fog patches forming in the south. Meanwhile, the area of rain across Scotland and Northern Ireland pushes into northern England by the start of the weekend, but it really diminishes into light and patchy outbreaks of rain, with this cloud tending to keep things frost-free first thing this weekend, but also fairly grey across this central swathe of the UK. So for northern England, parts of Wales, the Midlands, generally cloudy skies. Not much rain associated with that cloud, though, by that stage. It looks largely dry across the UK, and the best of any brighter weather will be in the south and the far north.
This year on GB News, we've got brand new members in the family.
Join us. Across the entire United Kingdom, we cover the issues that matter to you.
GB News will always stay honest, balanced and fair. We want to hear whatever is on your mind.
And we don't talk down to you.
The establishment had their chance.
Now we're here to represent you.
Britain's watching.
Come join us on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel. Join me, Nana Akue, Saturday and Sunday afternoons on GB News. Expect fiery debate and passionate discussion as me and my panel tackle some of the biggest topics hitting the headlines. It's a place for everyone's opinion. No one gets cancelled, but no one gets an easy ride.
Oh, she's on it today!
Be ready for conversations that are fierce, frank, and of course, fun. Every Saturday and Sunday afternoon from 4 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel.
We are GB News, right across the nation. You can get us on television, on radio, on digital. We're absolutely everywhere.
Amazing! You see, amazing!
You remind me of me in the European Parliament. But here's the most important bit. We are not part of the mainstream establishment. We think and speak just like you do. We are the People's Channel.
Magnificent. That's really, really thoughtful.
Come and join us on GB News, the People's News Channel.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. for Gloria Meets. In exclusive interviews, I'll be finding out who our politicians really are and what they really think.
It's something that you would never want anyone to suffer.
I didn't know what channels there were. I didn't think I'd be believed.
I must have weighed about 7 stone and I'm 5'8".
My instincts was to sort of cover this up. I mean, clearly that was a mistake.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
It's Thursday night, and this is Farage at Live from Crawley. Please welcome your host, Nigel Farage.
Good evening, it's Farage at Large here in Crawley. We've got the local MP, Henry Smith. We'll be talking about Gatwick Airport. We'll be asking, are the Tories doomed? And we'll be joined on Talking Pints by none other than Katie Price. But before all of that, let's get the news with Polly Middlehead.
Nigel, thank you, and good evening to you. The top story on GB News tonight, the former Chancellor Nadeem Zahawi has given HMRC approval to release files relating to his tax affairs to the independent investigator. It follows the Tax Accounts Chief Executive Jim Harrow telling MPs there are no penalties for innocent errors after being questioned by the Public Accounts Committee. The Tory party chairman Zahawi is facing calls to resign after it emerged he had paid a penalty to HMRC while he was Chancellor. The Prime Minister says no issues were raised with him personally when he appointed Zahawi to his cabinet role.
Because Nadeem Zahawi himself put a statement into the public domain and there was other reporting, there are questions to answer, and that's why I asked the independent advisor to conduct an investigation to fully establish the facts and provide advice to me about Nadeem Zahawi's compliance with the ministerial code.
In news away from home, at least 11 people have died in Russian missile strikes in Ukraine, a day after the United States and Germany pledged to supply the country with tanks and infantry fighting vehicles. More than 10 were wounded in the attacks, which covered 11 regions, including the capital, Kyiv. Germany's defence minister says he expects the first Leopard 2 tanks to arrive in Ukraine by the end of March, as are the UK's Challenger 2 tanks. Russia has responded, with the Kremlin saying deliveries of military hardware amounted to direct involvement in the conflict by the West. Scotland's First Minister has confirmed a transgender person convicted of rape will not be sent to an all-female prison. Early this week, Isla Bryson was found guilty of raping 2 women before choosing to change his gender to female. At First Minister's questions, Nicola Sturgeon addressed the row and whether Bryson should be held at the female Corton Vale prison. She also confirmed a risk assessment has been carried out by the Scottish Prison Service. Andrew Bridgen has threatened to sue the former Health Secretary for defamation following an online post he retweeted about the COVID jab. Early this month, the North West Leicestershire MP was stripped of the Tory whip after retweeting a post by a consultant cardiologist which said the number of people suffering with heart problems after the COVID vaccine was the biggest crime against humanity since the Holocaust. Matt Hancock referred to that as anti-Semitic in the House of Commons, a statement Bridgen has refuted. And lastly, the King has been given a warm welcome during his first visit to the New Africa Centre in South London. His Majesty spoke to staff and visitors and heard how the centre provided a home away from home for Africans living in the UK. The new building is a 1960s former office block that's been transformed into a community hub for African culture and heritage. That's the news. Back now to Farage at Large in Crawley.
Good evening. We are here at the Three Bridges Football Club in Crawley. Well, as we spend some time here, the Cabinet today have been at Chequers. Yes, they've been getting ready for the next general election. GB News polling today suggests the Tories are now 29 points behind Labour and behind on economic competency and every other major issue. A poll of 3 key constituencies in the last 48 hours could not name, when the voters were asked, a single major achievement of this government. They are in trouble. And I don't think Nadeem Zahawi is necessarily helping them very much. I do doubt that anybody offered to pour the coffee for him at Chequers this morning. You see, the boss of HMRC had a real go at him today. He said, we do not give penalties, tax penalties, to people who've made innocent mistakes. Oh dear, not looking very pretty, yet he's still in position. Well, with that lovely introduction, please, let's say a big hello to Henry Smith, Conservative Member of Parliament for Crawley. Thank you for joining us. Let's do it with a big picture first, Henry. I mean, this constituency was a Labour seat from 97 till 2010 when you won it. Local politics here with the Borough Council. I think Labour have a majority of 1 at the moment. So this is very much an important swing seat. How Crawley goes at the next election may well determine who gets the majority in Parliament. How confident are you, as you look ahead to the next election, for keeping this seat?
Well, you're absolutely right. In America, they would call this a bellwether seat. It always has gone with whoever's gone to form the government of the day, and the polls aren't looking good at all. And I think a lot of the 80-seat majority
Not looking good.
I'm trying to be diplomatic, Nigel. A lot of the 80-seat majority that was won just 3 years ago, frankly, has been squandered. So much more could have been done. Of course, we've had the COVID pandemic, but nevertheless, I think there have been a lot of opportunities that have been missed. And so it's little wonder that, given everything that's happened, particularly in the last year, the polls are showing what they are. So, no, it's not looking good at the moment. But I also think you need to look at the alternative. And there's nothing that Keir Starmer is saying, or he's not saying anything really in terms of policies, or let alone then how to spend money, taxpayers' money, on whatever those policies are. So, yes, the government does need to be accountable after 12 years in office, but also questions need to be asked about what is the alternative on those key issues.
Well, from what we know, I mean, frankly, I can't spot the difference. I mean, in terms of idea, I mean, your party has become anti-small business, pro-big government, and putting our taxes up to levels that, I mean, those that are working are paying more and more tax for a larger number of people who are choosing not to work.
Well, there was this statistic out, I think it was yesterday, that showed that there are fewer people paying in that are taking out from the system, and obviously that isn't sustainable. You know, my political instincts are for lower taxation. I think if you tax people less, you create economic growth, you create more jobs, and therefore you create more wealth and, ironically, more tax take. Surprise, surprise. So I'm not happy with the level of taxation that we have in this country at this moment in time. You're right that
you'd better give your Chancellor a good kicking then, hadn't you, really?
I'm all in favour of giving Jeremy Hunt a good kicking.
Well, there we are. Well, there we are. You're going to regret coming on this programme.
That's my job on behalf of these good people.
Final big policy thought. What happens in Dover impacts everywhere around the country, including Crawley. You've seen migrant hotels in Crawley. People are not happy about it. They see it as being grossly unfair. Do you, in your heart of hearts, think Rishi Sunak is going to stop the boats?
Well, now you're in the business of understatements, because people are more than not happy about the situation. People are furious about the situation, and rightly so. A nation should be able to defend its own borders, and we can't have people coming into this country unchecked. 40,000 last year.
I know.
It's not sustainable. And part of the problem is, yes, enforcement, but the big problem is the system we have. A lot of that is the European Court of Human Rights, where activist lawyers.
Should we leave it?
If we don't leave it, we should certainly carve out sections which apply to immigration.
And back to my question: is Rishi going to stop the boats?
He's got this plan that he announced at the beginning of the year to stop the boats. We've got the military now patrolling the beaches. But the point is if the law is used to say that those people entering this country illegally can play the system and can get involved in appeal after appeal, then the situation won't be solved, and therefore it does need legal.
I know, Henry, I know. I don't disagree with your sentiments. Thank you for coming on. We're going to get you back in a few minutes to talk about Gatwick. Henry Smith, thank you for joining us. Now, we take the view as a channel, and I take the view there are too many young kids spending their lives on iPhones and laptops in their bedroom, not getting out, playing sport, being outside, doing things. And that's where someone like Three Bridges Football Club comes in. It's been here since 1901. It's an amateur football club in the Isthmian League. It's got a youth section, 400 youngsters who come here and play football, but they could make this place so much better. I'm very, very pleased that Paul Faley, the chairman of Three Bridges, has joined me. Paul, what is it you need?
A 3G pitch, predominantly, Nigel, that's what it is, but it's £1,050,000 for the 3G pitch. The foundation has been amazing. The FA, the Football Foundation, has been incredible. But that's what we need. We want to get the kids here.
So if you have a 3G pitch,
yes,
you can play on that pitch 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yeah, so it's a 3G pitch predominantly takes it from... We can only play on it 9 months of the year. That's if it's not snowing, if it's not icing. You know, the weather in the last few weeks has been horrendous.
Yeah.
So, up a daisy. So, effectively... we need the pitch so we can continue to play on it. But the most important thing, Nigel, is to get the kids on it, because the kids are having to go elsewhere out of the town to actually train. And when you're talking about, I'm talking kids of 7, 8, 9 years old whose mum and dad have got to get them there. So it's really important to us that we can get them all in a safe, enclosed area with good coaching and help the kids that way.
And could you, I mean, apart from the ones that are signed up to Three Bridges, could local schools come and use this?
Right, so there's 2 schools at the moment that don't even have playing fields.
It's just unbelievable.
It's unreal. But, I mean, we were always brought up on, you'd have PE, sort of a double session of PE, you'd have games outside, athletics in the summer, football, rugby, cricket, etc., etc. We grew up on that. However, today, they're putting schools in ex-office blocks, and, and effectively, those schools don't have any playing facilities at all. We want them here.
Well, let me ask the audience, are you convinced by Paul's argument that a 3G pitch here would make the lives of kids in Crawley better? Is he right? Yeah! Well, we think he's right too, and that's why we're getting behind you.
Thank you.
And this club. We've written to Crawley Borough Council saying this could be a really, really good thing, but we've gone further than that.
Oh.
I've got 1 or 2 people who are supporting this campaign. Matt Letizia says, I wholeheartedly support Three Bridges' application for a 3G pitch.
Oh, cheers, Matt.
Terry Butcher.
Oh, big man.
Here we are. It was said it would be wonderful to have a new 3G football pitch and the benefits that would give to Crawley. Jason Cundy says, brilliant idea, wish I'd had it when I was a kid. But here's the one that's going to bowl you over. We have a video now we're going to show you from Peter and Steph Shilton.
Oh, yes.
Hi, everyone. Steph and myself would like to offer our support to Nigel Farage's campaign for the West Sussex football team, Three Bridges, to get a 3G football pitch.
This will be absolutely amazing, and it will help like hundreds, if not thousands, of children's lives with regard to their health and well-being.
There we are. How about that?
Thank you so much.
Well,
thank you.
You know what?
Thank you.
Paul,
I can't thank you enough for this.
Paul, you know, GB News, we want to be the people's channel. And it's local clubs like this, run by volunteers like yourself. You've been around for over 100 years. There's so much more.
I'm not so sure about
Well, that's what my notes told me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It's hard paper round.
We're right behind you.
Brilliant.
And I hope those endorsements make the local council sit up and think, and we wish you really, really well.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Cheers.
In a moment, we will talk about the proposed, pretty substantial expansion to Gatwick Airport and the arguments for and against. Back with you in a couple of minutes. All right, that was good, wasn't it?
Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Join me, Dan Wootton. I'll bring you the sharpest takes and hottest debates. Do you not believe in prison?
I don't believe in prison.
I'm completely stunned. I guarantee you there'll be no spin, no bias, no censorship.
I actually was personally quite offended by it.
And no reason to go to bed.
So I guess they've always been quite woke.
That's Dan Wootton tonight on TV, radio and online. Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Dubes and Kerr.
You're an inspiration to us all.
Clip that bit off.
Well, you are.
That's my ringtone. My political ambitions those days are gone, I can tell you.
She's only teasing. Go on.
He's probably going to want to lay down now. I'll give him 2 minutes to have one. Let's respectfully disagree. That's what we like on Dubes and Kerr. Come and join us. GB News, the People's Channel.
Michelle Dewberry, weekday evenings at 6 o'clock.
I'm Andrew Doyle. Join me at 7 o'clock every Sunday night for Free Speech Nation, the show where I tackle the week's biggest stories in politics and current affairs with the help of my 2 comedian panellists and a variety of special guests.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights from 7 on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michael Portillo. Join me on GB News on a Sunday morning for topical discussion, debate, arts and culture, and sometimes even ethical dilemmas.
I don't always agree with you, Michael.
Michael Portillo, Sundays on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
He's the king of breakfast TV, and he's back. Eamon Holmes, back on the TV with me this morning.
Even remember my name.
I know, it's been 4 months. You have holy water by your bed?
Oh, yes. Already to bless.
Yeah. Oh, Eamon. Oh.
Why do you not believe anything I say?
Eamon Holmes back on GB News Breakfast at 6 a.m.
This year on GB News, we've got brand new members in the family.
Join us. Across the entire United Kingdom, we cover the issues that matter to you. GB News will always stay honest, balanced and fair. We want to hear whatever is on your mind.
And we don't talk down to you.
The establishment had their chance. Now we're here to represent you. Britain's watching.
Come join us on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
We are GB News, the People's Channel.
And right across the United Kingdom.
You can find us on Sky Channel 512.
Virgin Media Channel 604.
Freesat Channel 216.
Freeview Channel 236.
And YouView Channel 236.
You can also take us with you on DAB Plus Radio.
With the GB News app and at the website gbnews.uk.
We're absolutely everywhere.
Come join us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Crawley. Now, all infrastructure projects are controversial, but airport infrastructure expansions and new builds are even more controversial. Gatwick in 2019, that's the last normal year before they locked us all down for some reason, had nearly 50 million passenger travellers in and out of the airport. But there is a big proposed expansion of Gatwick. It would include using the northern runway, which at the moment is just used for taxiing and emergencies. And the plan is, by 2048, 50 million travellers a year would become 80 million travellers a year. That is what is on the decks. And unsurprisingly, communities against Gatwick noise emissions, and Liz Lockwood is a committee member of it, aren't too happy. Liz, is Gatwick livable as it currently is?
It's tough, but it's livable, yes. We've had a lot of increase over the last, after 2019, nothing, but before up to 2019, there's been a steady increase in the amount of air traffic and surface traffic as well on the trains and roads. So we've pretty much reached our limit, I feel.
Well, the plan, of course, here is to expand and use the northern runway. It's to upgrade roads. It's to upgrade rail links so that it can cope with this increased volume of people. I mean, isn't the truth of it, if you're worried about the noise from Gatwick Airport, maybe you shouldn't have moved here in the first place?
I've lived here for 30 years and I moved here knowing full well that when Gatwick had the potential to increase, it might well do that. But I think you're slightly mistaken, Nigel, in the terms that you've just said that Gatwick would expand and it would increase the infrastructure to cope with the additional traffic. In the current proposals for their development consent order, there's nothing in there about what they're going to do to increase the capacity of the M23, which, as we all know, is full, or that train line that goes up through the bottleneck up to East Croydon, which we all know is really full. And actually...
All right, so let's say that the M23 became a Los Angeles-style 6 lanes each way, and let's say the railway line was upgraded, would you then object to this?
Yes, because I think it's the quality of life as well. So it's about a 30-mile radius from the airport where people are impacted by noise and emissions, as well as the surface traffic as well. So that's got a big impact on everybody's lives. Yes, I'd still object.
I get that, and I can see you've got legitimate complaints. But can I ask, I generally find campaign groups like yours have a bigger motive, which actually is to stop us flying as much as we do.
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, we have a campaign that is a pledge to fly less. And
to fly less?
Just fly less, not to stop flying.
Why should we fly less?
It's a combination of reasons. Firstly, that people who are flying now are flying at taxpayers' expense. They're being subsidised by the fact that aircraft businesses don't pay VAT or fuel duty.
Just because you don't put a tax on isn't exactly a tax cut, is it?
But that's quite a significant amount of the expenditure. And I've lost my thread now.
Basically, whenever I've met your campaign groups, you're saying that because of climate change, we must fly less. Is that what your group's saying?
Yes, I think that's...
All right. That's an honest answer. We got to where I thought we would. And I understand the genuine sincerity with which you mean it. I would point out to you that aviation contributes about 2% of global carbon dioxide, which I don't think is a very significant amount, but I do get your points about local noise and inconvenience.
Yes, and to take it a little bit further, that whilst that figure might seem relatively low, other forms of transport have been improving their sustainable methods faster than aircraft have. So it is getting, we've got electric cars, for example. Electric airplanes are really not a thing for...
No, I don't think that's happening very quickly. I would agree with you on that. Well, look, Liz Lockwood, thank you for coming on and making the argument. Thank you very much indeed. Well, and of course, anybody living anywhere in the country that's anywhere near a major airport knows about these problems. My grandparents had a house on the A23 in Hawley, just down the road, so I saw, as a kid, as Gatwick got busier and busier, there were these inconveniences. Henry Smith MP, Liz Lockwood does make some valid points about just how busy traffic is, etc. Mind you, that's the same all over the country with an exploding population. Where do you stand as the local MP on this? And it is quite a substantial proposed expansion.
Well, I think we saw in the COVID pandemic just how vital Gatwick was to the local economy. When people weren't able to fly, the impact on jobs and the broader economy was really quite significant. And nationally, we're an island trading nation. We rely on those international connections. So the idea that we should be flying less, I think, is a non-starter. And Gatwick is very important. What I do think that this country can be in the forefront of, and we're beginning to see this with the Jet Zero Council that the government have launched a couple of years ago, is that we can be at the forefront of aviation technology in terms of providing technological solutions to reducing the carbon emissions from aircraft and be leaders in sustainable aviation fuels. Also airspace modernisation. I was just at a meeting earlier on today with the people who are looking at airspace modernisation using GPS to make sure that we're flying much more efficiently, means that we can continue flying, being important for the economy as a trading nation and local communities
so you're strongly
like this.
You're strongly for this expansion?
I'm not in favour of Gatwick expanding its physical limits, its boundaries, but they do have a proposal to grow their business by using the standby runway for shorter domestic and near European flights. So I think if they can grow their business within their current footprint, then I think that's actually a win-win.
Final thought. As you drive from the M25 down the M23, it's a bit like being in communist China. There are cameras everywhere looking at you.
Steady on, Nigel. It's not quite that.
I know it is that bad. Actually, do you know what? It is that bad. And very often there's a 50-mile-an-hour limit for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And you're going along at 6:30 in the morning, doing 56, more people getting speeding tickets than ever before. Big brother, big state, no hard shoulder. People being killed, and the Conservative government call these motorways smart. Is that how you describe them?
And the trouble with the variable speed limits is if it says 60, people actually start doing 40, and it starts having a detrimental effect. I'm not convinced by smart motorways. I mean, I've been driving for over 35 years. Yep. When I started driving, we had hard shoulders, and I think they're very important for emergency vehicles if people break down. Highways England tell me, well, we've got the technology now to assist people straight away, and if you make sure people are on motorways and not on smaller roads, then accidents overall reduce. I think the jury's out on that one, and I do think we need to have a review of the way smart motorways
This particular
work.
jury member's made his mind up, but Henry Smith, thank you. Now, one last quick point in this segment of the programme. Over the last few years, there have been many people pointing the finger at the World Economic Forum, saying they've got these evil plans for our future. And one of them is we'd all be forced to eat insects. Absolute nonsense, I thought. Until now. And I am not making this up. 2 days ago, the European Union, the European Commission, has given permission for insects to be added to a list of foods. The European Commission has passed it. These will be what are known as domestic crickets. They will, on the labelling of the food, it will say Asceta domesticus, so we all understand fully what that means, obviously. And that will include the addition into foodstuffs of multigrain bread, cereal bars, cookies, pizza, chocolate products. We are about to have mass-produced insects put into our food. The European Commission have approved it. It needs to go through the European Parliament. But given at the moment, this country has kept itself aligned to EU food standards, I'd say it's time for a proper Brexit. I don't want locusts for my breakfast. I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Thank you.
I'm Simon Evans. Join me on GB News for Headliners at 11 p.m.
What's the scoop?
I'll be joined by two of the country's top comedians.
That's right.
As we take a look at tomorrow's newspapers tonight.
We're going to get into trouble.
If it's a big story, we'll be covering it.
Spill some tea on him.
There we go.
But we'll also have some fun.
I wouldn't stick up a bank.
My father didn't love me. So anyway.
Headliners every night from 11 on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Monday to Thursday on GB News, it's Bev Turner Today from 10 a.m. We're going to be here for you, our GB News family, to keep you up to date, but also make you smile.
The guy went from puberty to adultery.
And I can't wait to bring a few of my own opinions.
I have no time for cultural totalitarianism.
We'll engage in passionate, but always polite debate, with your thoughts and opinions at the centre of it all. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Mark White. As GB News Home and Security Editor, I cover those key issues that are so important to you. Our authorities, our communities doing all they can to combat violent crime. With the public services under unbearable strain, why are we still failing to control our borders? Defence, the first priority of any government, has been continually hollowed out. Can we trust our politicians to protect the armed forces? Join me, Mark White, on GB News.
We are GB News, and we'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for bringing us your conversations, for helping our great nation find its voice. We are here for you on radio, television, and online, across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland.
It's not the BBC, you actually get your facts right.
We are proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michael Portillo. Join me on GB News on a Sunday morning for topical discussion, debate, arts and culture, and sometimes even ethical dilemmas.
I don't always agree with you, Michael.
Michael Portillo, Sundays on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, Andrew Pierce here. Join me every Friday lunchtime for a proper no-nonsense debrief of the week's events. With special guests in the studio and the GB News team on the ground, I'll be getting you up to date with news, some intelligent discussion, and my own sharp take. The weekend starts here with me every Friday lunchtime on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Every weekend, it's Mark Dolan Tonight. Bigger and better, starting at 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday.
Can't be too safe. Bring it on. Has there ever been a more innuendo feature?
And Sundays, we're on at 9.
It's ridiculous.
Just get on with it. Maybe you should get a proper job.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
always, wherever we go, we get members of the public to come and ask me questions. All I know is their name. I've no idea what they're going to ask me. Let's kick off. Lynn, good evening. What would you like to ask?
Good evening, Nigel. Mine is probably the same as a lot of people all around think. Very concerned about the people coming across the channel to get asylum. I wonder when it's ever going to be safe to walk in town again after dark. Locals to us have been actually told during the day to close their windows and doors and lock them and keep them locked, and that's during the day. It is very distressing. I walked into town before Christmas and I had a key, my car key, with the bit sticking out, because I actually felt nervous because there were groups of these people around the town, and this was 20 to 5 in the evening.
Well, Lynn, I'm afraid your story is being repeated now all over the country. There are approaching 450 hotels now that are fully housing young men that have crossed the English Channel. Plus, of course, we've got private housing as well. In fact, just this week, Serco were writing a letter to people who they were renting properties off, asking for more properties. And I quote this from Serco. This is from one company. We currently have 40,000 asylum seekers staying in hotels, and our goal is to get as many people as we can into houses in local communities so they can take their next major step into their lives in the UK. So Serco are assuming that everyone that comes will be able to stay. And do you know something? You saw the big case this week.
I know.
About the chap who committed a double murder. Yeah. What you didn't see was in Truro Crown Court yesterday, a chap who was a failed asylum seeker awaiting deportation was convicted of rape. That happened yesterday in Truro. And here's the problem. Even when people fail, they're not being deported. My short answer, Lynn, to you, when you said, can I see an end to this? Henry Smith, your MP, he's halfway there. All the while we're signed up to the European Convention on Human Rights and our judges can use it. All the while that happens, we will never be able to deport people sufficiently. That and other things have to change. If not, this will go on and get worse.
Why, can I just say one thing? Why can they bring in 24 hours a law that makes us wear masks? Yet...
Lynn, I get it.
Is the government being taken over by mafia? What is stopping them?
Well, some would say the government is a mafia, but hey, look, they haven't got the political will and they're bound by the law. Thank you. It's a very important point. James, good evening.
Hi, Nigel. And can I just say first, thank you for all you do in contributing to the growth of a news channel that's genuinely independent and tells it like it is. Nigel, the tax take now is genuinely hurting working people, as the Tory party seems to have abandoned any pretence that they're for low tax and small state. Although Henry Smith spoke very convincingly today, they're just words from the Tory party now. They've really let us all down. And is there any hope for British taxpayers, Nigel, who really want to see the end of this drive towards globalisation, big government, big control, big spending, massive taxes? Is there anywhere for those people to go?
James, at the moment, if you're looking at the two big parties in England and Wales, Scotland's a bit different, but that may change. Nicola's not quite as popular as she was. I'm afraid no. No. I mean, reform is making progress, coming up on the rails, arguing for a smaller state. And Henry says what he says, and no doubt means it, but they all say it and then do the opposite. I think we're in for a tough time. And I think my biggest fear are the number of people, young people particularly, emigrating. They're going off to Lisbon, they're going off to Milan, where those countries are doing tax deals. We've got a brain drain going on in Britain for the first time since 1978-9. It is absolutely shocking. The self-employed particularly are being victimised, in my opinion, by this government. Massive increases in taxes, no relaxation of IR35. Right at the moment, there's no obvious answer other than to say there'll be people like me and you will be out there and we'll make the arguments and one day we'll turn this ship around. But it's going to take time. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Let's get Matt. Hi, Matt.
Good evening, Nigel. When will I start to see any benefits from Brexit? As currently, my experience of Brexit consists of increased food and commodity costs, such as a £500 custom tax bill for a bike that I purchased directly from Germany recently. And the NHS seems to have spiralled into a car crash. I thought that was supposed to get better.
Well, actually, on the NHS, I mean, there was a ridiculous promise that Boris Johnson made about X number of £350 million a week. The truth is, NHS spending has gone up even more than that. Even more than that. And yet, the more we put into the NHS, it seems, the less we get out of it. When it comes to trade and extra taxes, we should never have agreed to give 40 billion quid to the European Union if they were going to make trade more expensive. Frankly, we'd have been better off leaving with no deal, and I'm with you. I think a lot of people feel disappointment that the government has not fully delivered. We've not had the cuts in regulation or simplification for business. And yeah, listen, there's a lot more to do. The Tories have let a lot of people down, let alone taking back control of our borders. Disappointing, I agree with you. One last one. Henry, please.
Good evening, Nigel. Thank you for coming to speak tonight. I'd just like to ask, considering Britain emits just 1.8% of global CO2 emissions, and forecasts already for this year are suggesting that 8 billion tonnes of coal is to be burnt, do you believe in the transition to net zero, whilst competitors like China open 80 new coal mines a year, considering that really a global consensus is needed to make a real difference anyway?
Henry, not only are you wearing the same coat that I wear, but you're talking my script. Yeah. Look, we all want to live in a cleaner, better environment. Older people here will remember the London smogs and terrible things like that. We all want to make improvements. But frankly, you say 1.8%, my figures suggest less than 1% of global CO2 is emitted by Britain. We should not be committing acts of self-harm. And by that I mean, to meet net zero, we're exporting manufacturing jobs and importing energy that we could produce here. It is utter madness, and I think Westminster is becoming increasingly detached, frankly, on this from the rest of the country. Of course, you make these arguments, they all scream at you, denier, denier. It's a sort of modern kind of witchcraft, it would seem. It's rather similar to my point to James earlier. In the end, common sense will prevail. Right, let's take a break, and in a moment, I'll introduce Katie Price.
Here on GB News Live, we'll be keeping you in the picture, finding out what's happening across the country and finding out why it matters to you. We'll have the facts fast with our team of reporters and specialist correspondents. Wherever it's happening, we'll be there from 12 noon on TV, radio and online. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Andrew Doyle. Join me at 7 o'clock every Sunday night for Free Speech Nation, the show where I tackle the week's biggest stories in politics and current affairs with the help of my two comedian panellists and a variety of special guests.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights from 7 on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Patrick Christie's, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6. We tackle the day's news agenda like you've never seen before. It's high tempo, high octane, the most controversial topics, and the best guests. You will not be able to take your eyes and ears off it. I'm not afraid to ask the questions that you really want answered. 3 till 6 p.m, Monday to Friday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. for Gloria Meets. In exclusive interviews, I'll be finding out who our politicians really are and what they really think.
It's something that you would never want anyone to suffer.
I didn't know what channels there were. I didn't think I'd be believed.
I must have weighed about 7 stone and I'm 5'8". My instincts was to sort of cover this up. I mean, clearly that was a mistake.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We are GB News, right across the nation. You can get us on television, on radio, on digital. We're absolutely everywhere.
Amazing. You see, amazing.
You remind me of me in the European Parliament. But here's the most important bit. We are not part of the mainstream establishment. We think and speak just like you do. We are the People's Channel.
Magnificent. That's really, really thoughtful.
Come and join us on GB News, the People's News Channel.
Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Join me, Dan Wootton. I'll bring you the sharpest takes and hottest debates. Do you not believe in prison?
I don't believe in prisons.
I'm completely stunned. I guarantee you there'll be no spin, no bias, no censorship.
I actually was personally quite offended by it.
And no reason to go to bed.
So I guess they've always been quite woke.
That's Dan Wootton tonight on TV, radio and online. Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This year on GB News, we've got brand new members in the family.
Join us. Across the entire United Kingdom, we cover the issues that matter to you. GB News will always stay honest, balanced and fair. We want to hear whatever is on your mind, and we don't talk down to you.
The establishment had their chance. Now we're here to represent you. Britain's watching.
Come join us on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Well, it's time for Talking Pints, and my guest tonight here in Crawley is the one and only Katie Price. Katie, welcome to Talking Pints. Good to see you.
And you.
Now,
I
you
thought
sort
it in time, didn't I? Just about.
She arrived about a minute ago. But that doesn't matter, she did. That'd have been huge disappointment if you hadn't, I can promise you.
Oh.
Now, you sort of arrive in our lives as Jordan in the middle, late 1990s, and suddenly there you are. And everyone's talking about you.
Yeah.
And that's over 25 years ago.
Yes.
And you've never really left our lives. You're there constantly, every bit of your life, the good bits, the disappointing bits. It never, ever goes away. What's it like being that famous? Can you live an ordinary life at all?
Well, I don't think I am famous. I don't know any different. Yeah, but I really don't know any different. When I go home, I just do normal things with my friends. None of my friends are famous. It's like, when you get to know me, people don't understand how I'm, like, out there all the time in the papers, yet I'm just at home normal in my pyjamas, drinking tea and just being normal.
But when you're out and about, you know, you go shopping or you go places, people recognise you, they want selfies or whatever else there are, I don't know.
Yeah, well, they used to. It's more like the kids now, especially Harvey. He's so popular, Harvey.
Yeah, we're going to... no. And we're
Sorry, I'm rushing through your questions.
No, don't worry about it. But I mean, you know, and you've done a lot, haven't you? You know, I'm a Celebrity, Big Brother, absolutely. I mean, there's almost nothing. You know, you're the queen of glam, really, aren't you?
Well, the thing that's a shame, there was a programme on the other day which I had absolute nothing to do with it, called The Rise and Fall of Me. And I was really worried, thinking, oh, my God, what's it going to be about? And actually, it does show that I have done a lot in my life. But nowadays, people are just so interested in writing about putting me down, like rubbish stories, when really they should embrace what I've done. And today, I'm so proud that the petition that I did for Harvey...
Well, this is amazing.
Yeah, can I ask you something about it? So now...
Yeah.
Because I don't know how it goes. It's something to do with the bills. It was in the House of Commons, and now it goes to the House of Lords. What does that mean?
Let's just get the story
politics.
right here. So Harvey, your son,
Yes.
you know, was born with some really tough disabilities.
He's got SOD, which is septic optic dysplasia. And basically, it's part of the front line of the brain, the pituitary gland. It's abnormal. So that's why he's blind. He's got ADHD, opposite deficit disorder, Prader-Willis. And the list goes on. Tic disorder, obesity. Yeah.
Well, you fought really hard for him. But the thing that surprised me was why a kid like that would be the subject of online abuse. I mean, it seems pretty sick, doesn't it?
Well, there's lots of people out there who are racist. There's lots of people out there who think because you're larger than life, that gives them an excuse to bully you. He can't answer back. And the sad thing is, if they actually met Harvey, it would probably break their heart because he's so innocent. Like, if someone went to push him or, like, hit him, it'd probably be like that and cry. I hate it. So he can't speak for himself, but I can, which is why I did this.
Yeah, I mean, you've been
petition.
pushing for this online
Yeah.
harms bill, which would limit, stop and get people prosecuted who were. The trouble is, so a piece of legislation goes through the House of Commons, it has to go through the House of Lords, it takes time. The difficulty with it is where you draw the line between comment.
But this is the thing.
Yeah.
First of all, whether you love me or hate me, I think this is one of the best things I've ever done in my career.
Yeah.
It's got about, 695,000 signatures.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show there's lots of support out there. And I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it to help other people. So I am actually proud of myself for that.
Good. Well,
Thank you. What I'm saying, Nigel, I know, I'm a bit crazy and nuts, but I can be professional and sensible sometimes. Otherwise, it wouldn't be me, would it? So...
Well, you're also quite an entrepreneur, really, aren't you? I mean, perfume brands, food supplements, clothes and books. I mean, you sold 3 million copies of your books. I mean,
do you know how many books I've got? Does any of you know, actually, how many books I've got out? 52. Bet you didn't know that,
I
did
didn't
you?
know as many as that,
Yeah, because
no.
I've done, pony books, novels.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I'm so due to do my next autobiography 5 years ago. And I tell you what, this one's going to be the best one. I say it about all of them. Oh, my God, the dramas that I have had lately in my life. Well, I've survived it now, so now I'm making a comeback.
No, well, I think you are.
I really am.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't work out. You sell millions of books, you do all these things, and yet a couple of years ago you did finish up in a bit of financial difficulty.
The word bankruptcy. Look, a lot of people, I don't care, you can laugh, whatever, but I'm in such a good position, and actually it's quite handy to be in a bankruptcy, I think, for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if anyone's after, it's like, we'll join the list. You know what I mean? Well, there you go. But no, but
You've bounced back from that.
Yeah, my mental health went downhill, horrible marriages.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and moan about everything, but yeah, I did hit rock bottom. I was suicidal, tried to kill myself, ended up in the Priory. I could not have got any more rock bottom than I did. And I've come up, shining, happy, sorting myself out, living the dream, as they say, and I'm having a comeback.
Well, you
I might be
are.
44. I know I might not look it because it's been pulled here and there everywhere. But yeah, there's more to come from me. Bigger and better.
Wow.
Literally.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know quite how to respond to that. Can't get any bigger,
It's
surely.
all right. Well, these are the biggest I've been, actually. But you know what? All my friends say, why do you do it? Because you never, show them. But I do it for myself. So, yeah, these are the biggest. So, yeah.
And tell us about OnlyFans, Katie Price.
Oh, my God, I love OnlyFans. So, obviously, I made my career through magazines, newspapers, grafted really, really hard. Nowadays, social media, anyone can say I'm a model, influencer, get their kit off. But why do I want to get my kit off and not get paid for it? Because that's basically what I've done for years. And then OnlyFans, so it has got a stigma. You can get your kit off, have sex, do whatever on it, but then you don't have to do that. So I was a bit wary about doing it, but I really enjoy doing photo shoots. I mean, I absolutely love it. So I decided to join. I asked Channel 4 and the BBC One, because obviously I do documentaries and stuff with them, if I could do it. I said, I promise I won't go nude or anything, because that's not what I do anyway. And they agreed, so that's why I'm doing it. So anyone who wants to sign up, you get to see what goes on in my life and see what a 44-year-old looks like. MILF. Hey.
And you're doing phenomenally well on it, aren't you?
Yeah, the thing is with me, look, I've had money and then you lose money, had it, and money's not everything in the world, do you know what I mean? In fact, it's the root to all evil in my life. I've had to pay this person, that person, that person. And then you realise who your real friends are when you go through a tough time. But I know I'll always earn. Even this table I could sell and make it look, sellable. Anything. I'm I'm just me, aren't I?
Now, one of the negatives has been your driving record.
Yeah, I'm on my... Actually, today I was doing my online driving course, actually.
Really?
Oh, my God, 8 hours it was. Jesus.
But, Katie, I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Much as many people in this country respect you and admire you. Some don't, but a lot do.
Is this a telling off?
We don't want you back on the road.
Oh, I do. And do you know what, right? I'm going to say something there. Back on the road. So the reason I've been banned, they call it totting up. I live in the country and 3 of our houses have all got the same postcode. So I never get all my posts. But the judge never believed me, and then it was the same judge again and again. She just had it in for me, make an example. But I do agree, the last time was drink driving. And
but even
mentally, I wasn't right. I went to the Priory before. There's no excuse. I'm just thankful that I didn't hurt anyone.
Well, the drink driving, of course, is bad, but there's been quite a few other incidents, really, haven't there, generally?
Which ones? Tell me.
I
can't keep up
the number of
myself.
points. What exactly?
Yes.
Why don't you just give up driving?
Well, do you know, I was going to bring a range out of mobility scooters. So obviously, I broke my feet. You may laugh, but I broke my feet. I've had life-changing injuries 2 years ago, so I have got, like, 4 mobility scooters that I kitted out. Because, yeah, normally when you see, like, people on them, they're boring, aren't they? So I might bring out a range of mobility scooters.
Well, is that the next big plan?
Well, actually, you have to wait and see. What am I doing next?
No, the book and stuff.
Oh, yeah, so the book, I'm going to do a theatre tour after the summer.
Yep.
I'm doing my memorabilia, because I've got so much stuff, like bras and stuff, if anyone wants any. I don't know, I'm just putting my thinking hat on. Yes, what else? Doing my reality shows, documentaries. I want to do a lot of crime stuff, and I still want to train to be a paramedic. I'm still going to do it, and I'm still going to do it, yeah.
There's no stopping you, is there?
No, well, I was training to be a registered nurse before I got into this awful industry. I was doing the Project 2000, didn't finish it. So I am a caring person. I love people and, yeah, people don't ever get to see that side of me, unfortunately. They just see the trashy Kate in the papers, wearing this, doing that, whatever. Boring. I think a lot of journalists... they've got a lot to say for themselves.
Well, they've written about your marriages and relationships endlessly, and that must, in the end, get you down a bit.
Yeah, that's why I was in the Priory. The thing is, they always say a source says this. What, HP sauce or ketchup? What sauce? There is no sauce. And my mum has been really ill, and there was a story about a month ago that went in, and they made out that my mum made these comments, but we know it was impossible for my mum to have made them comments. But what they don't like is... I've probably got more people on my social media than the amount of papers or magazines they sell. So when I out them and then they, like, come crawling, oh, please, can you take it down? Can you not say that about the journalists? Well, don't say stuff about me then. Works both ways, you know?
Given that your currency and anything about you will go into gossip columns or whatever it is, surely the most difficult thing is knowing who to trust as friends.
Trust and loyalty for me. Like, I've just been betrayed in every way. Managers... husbands, friends, you name it. So, but I'm still, like, looking for friendship and stuff and love. I'm never giving up.
No, but it is hard, isn't it? It is hard.
It is hard, but I'm a survivor. But not everyone's going to be like it, are they? So...
No, I think it's, I mean, the press... Mind you, I suppose in one way, the press can be very good to you as well, can't they?
Back in the day, we had a good relationship. The Sun signed me, so I didn't work for the Daily Star. Then the Daily Star signed me, so I didn't work with the Sun. And it was like give and take. But now it's like bash, 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 bash. Like, what else can they say? Literally.
So you really dislike the press now?
I just think they've got no respect. I am a human being. They've seen how bad mentally I've been, and yet they still, honestly, every single day there's a story. Every day.
Literally.
I know.
Literally.
And, like, I don't know what the fascination is about me. I really don't. I go home, like, put my pyjamas and that one, and it's like... The funny thing is, the other day, my 8-year-old daughter, a letter come through the post, Jordan Trading. She was like, Mum, who's Jordan? Why has this come through the letterbox? I went, it's me. She went, no, it's not. You're my mum and you're Katie Price. I went, but my name was Jordan. She's like, what? Who's Jordan? So isn't that fascinating? She has no idea. So I said, it's like OnlyFans. So...
Well, I have to say, Katie Price...
I could sit here and talk for ages.
I know. I have to say, as I said at the start of this, you arrived in our lives, whether we wanted it or not, in the 1990s.
Have you always liked me or not, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Be honest.
I've got a feeling...
You can sum it up there, then. You like me, I like you. There you go.
There you are. But don't tell anybody.
Don't worry, you're not going to be my next husband. I'm done with that. Or are you married? I don't know. Joking.
We'll talk about it afterwards. Now, we're coming towards... Can I just say, you've been through some very tough times. I know you have.
Yeah.
I can see you're very positive. You've turned it all around. Big hand, please, for Katie Potter.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to finish. We're going to finish with a song. Dan Knight, local singer, is going to sing for us a song about Nadeem Zahawi, the man who can't be moved. And thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening.
Going back to the corner where I first saw you. Gonna camp in my sleeping bag and I'm not gonna move. Got some words on cardboard, got your picture in my hand saying, if you see this girl, can you tell her where I am? Some try to help me money, they don't understand. I'm not broke, I'm just a broken-hearted man. I know it makes no sense, what else can I do? How can I move on when I'm still in love with you? Cause if one day you wake up and find that you're missing me, heart starts to wonder where on this earth I can be. Thinking maybe you'll come back here to the place that we'd meet. See me waiting for you on the corner of the street. I'm not moving, I'm not moving, I'm not moving, no. I'm not moving. Cause if one day you wake up and find that you're missing me, heart starts to wonder where on this earth I can be. Thinking maybe you'll come back here to the place that we need. See me waiting for you on the corner of the street. I'm not moving, I'm not moving, I'm not moving, I'm not moving.
Thank you.
We are GB News, the People's Channel.
And right across the United Kingdom.
You can find us on Sky Channel 512,
Virgin Media Channel 604,
Freesat Channel 216.
Freeview Channel 236.
And YouView Channel 236.
You can also take us with you on DAB Plus Radio.
With the GB News app and at the website gbnews.uk.
We're absolutely everywhere.
Come join us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akue, Saturday and Sunday afternoons on GB News. Expect fiery debate and passionate discussion as me and my panel tackle some of the biggest topics hitting the headlines. It's a place for everyone's opinion. No one gets cancelled, but no one gets an easy ride.
Oh, she's on it today!
Be ready for conversations that are fierce, frank, and of course, fun. Every Saturday and Sunday afternoon from 4 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch.
You've been cancelled. Join the club.
Oh, my goodness me. And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilised conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage.
Hello there, it's Eamon Holmes here from Breakfast on GB News. We're not just on your television and your screens, you know.
We're on DAB plus digital radio, so you can listen to your favourite shows on the move.
If you've not yet listened to GB News Radio, it's very simple. We're on your radio player and tune-in apps, on your smart speaker, phone or tablet, or online at gbnews.uk.
Take us with you wherever you go. GB News Radio.
You never have to miss a moment of the People's Channel.
Hi, Andrew Pierce here. Join me every Friday lunchtime for a proper no-nonsense debrief of the week's events. With special guests in the studio and the GB News team on the ground, I'll be getting you up to date with news, some intelligent discussion, and my own sharp take. The weekend starts here with me every Friday lunchtime on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Every weekend, it's Mark Dolan Tonight. Bigger and better, starting at 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday.
Can't be too safe. Bring it on. Has there ever been a more innuendo feature?
And Sundays, we're on at 9.
It's ridiculous. Just get on with it. Maybe you should get a proper job.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We are GB News, the People's Channel.
Why not take us home with you by visiting the GB News shop at gbnews.store. You'll find all the official merchandise, a really good present actually for yourself, your friends or your family.
We ship across the UK mainland at no extra cost. GB News, the People's Channel.